You know what to do. Yeah, lessons, man. But listen, people, how did you find last week? Let me know how you found last week in the comments. Let me know. Let me know how you found it. Apostle Israel. Oh man, touchy things. And I think what I loved, I mean, for me, the key thing for me, what I really loved is when he was talking about him having bipolar, for 5 years. Do you get what I mean? And even how he like diagnosed himself. Do you get what I mean? Through he was actually counseling someone, I believe, and then through that, and when they were saying the symptoms, he began to realize that hold on, this is something that I have. Do you get what I mean? And just even that type of transparency that we don't see, from people in leadership, you know. So I think that was a beautiful thing. And just even like, when he said one of the other highlights for me was when he said that God calls him his baby boy. The reason why that was deep is because sometimes, especially like as men, you know, you might feel like, that might sound moist or that might sound like something like this, but that just shows the level of intimacy, that we are to have with him. Do you get what I mean? And like we will always be like the father's children. Do you get what I mean? No matter how old we get and etc. And I think that was just really beautiful, man. But yeah, man, like please, man, tell me in the comments as well what was powerful for you or any highlights. He said so many things. He said so many things. I just shared some of my highlights. Yeah, listen, it's crazy. Listen. Yeah, Mufi, I hear you, bro. It's mad. It really did make me reflect, and it just made me think. You know what? Like, no matter what, it just kind of reminded me of the fact that nothing can ever separate me from the love of God. Do you get what I mean? And just kind of like reminding me about the importance of really kind of like a realigning my focus. You know, like to know that listen, I'm a man who is loved by God. It's not my works that define me. But I'm a son of God, and that's a beautiful thing. Do you get what I mean? That's something that we can bask in. That's something that we can be confident in. No, that's something that we can be assured of. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah, man. Listen, it was dope. It was really dope. It was really transparent. It was the wisdom, and I loved it. I just loved the practical examples. I loved when he was talking about how you shouldn't. It's like you need to be around people that won't just call you by your title, but they'll actually call you by your name and actually deal with you in that manner. Do you know what I mean? People that you can just be real with, that kind of real brotherhood. Do you get what I mean? Like being able to actually really open up. That's one thing that I think that holds us men back is the lack of transparency. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, man, I think like just being able to, be transparent amongst your brothers, help each other, beautiful. Yeah, the bird analogy was mad. Yes, people know you as the man of God and not the man that needs God. This is what I'm saying. Listen, crazy, crazy. It was poetic. It was poetic, I'm telling you. Oh man. No, but it was good, man. It was good. It was good. It's sad. I hope you guys are looking forward to another session of Bro What Happened. It's a real one. Listen, I'm gonna let the guest, really introduce himself, but he's an awesome guy. Do you get what I mean? He's someone you might have vibe one, two to his tunes and etc. That's what I'm gonna say. But I'm really gonna let him come and really introduce himself. But I'm really looking forward to just really chopping it up with him and just talking the real, you know, talking the real. So I'm looking forward to having him on. And he's invited, and then you see he's coming on, and then we'll go from there. Yo,
Yo, my bro.
yo, Triple
It's
O.
really good. How are
I'm
you, sir?
good, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
You can
It's
see me
good to
clearly,
have
yeah?
you on. Yeah, no, you know what? I'm seeing your image is dark at the moment.
All right.
Yeah. Your image is dark. So get you patterned up and then we let you to, introduce yourself. But your screen is black and the people need to see they need to see this man of God.
All right. Can you see me now, yeah?
No, it's still pitch black, It's still pitch black.
Mm-mm-mm.
Listen, still pitch black, but we need to see. I don't know if it's the lighting or He's gonna come back in. Listen, technical difficulties. The devil is a liar. Trust me. Triple.
Yo,
Yo, we're hearing you. We're hearing you loud, crisp, nice.
you're hearing me loud and crisp and
We're
clear.
hearing you crisp and clear. We're not
Mm-mm.
seeing you. We're not
I can
seeing
see,
you.
I can see you, I can see you clearly, and the comments are saying that they can see.
Yeah? Okay. That's mad. That must be something on my end. So we're gonna run with it then. As long as everyone can see, that's good. Look, listen, Triple, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, please.
Yeah,
Please can you introduce yourself and let them know who you are. Tell us a bit about you,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Cool. So, I am a rapper, musician, an artist.
Yeah.
Been making music for the Lord Jesus Christ for 15 years.
Wow.
Been doing this since 2000 and 2005 is when I first got started.
Wow.
And it's been an incredible journey. It's been a humbling journey.
Yeah.
Um, even as I'm talking here and I'm sharing, I don't necessarily want to come off and be like, yo, this is all of these things that I've done and these are the things I've accomplished or these are the things I'm doing. Because one thing I've learned is that like these accolades that we so dearly hold on to, they're
Yeah.
gone. Like people
Mm.
will remember you for 5 minutes for something that you've done, and then they're
Mm.
on to the next one. That's how music works. That's how life works. So
Wow.
the mistake that we make, or the mistake that I've made in my arrogance and my pride, is like, oh yeah, man's got this award and man's done this, and man, you should know who I am. When the
Yeah.
reality is,
Yeah.
when I'm going to the barbershop, when I'm going to Tesco's, when I'm going to Sainsbury's, I'm just another dude. You know? So we
Yeah.
create
Yeah.
this world, and then we try and say, okay, yeah, like I'm a superstar in this world, and then the reality of life
Mm.
then kicks in and humbles you. So I'm
Mm.
thankful for the
Mm.
journey that I've been on.
Okay.
Had the
Okay.
opportunity to make music,
Yeah.
and tour and do some amazing things.
Yeah.
And then part of the story, which I'm looking forward to sharing to tonight, is
Yeah.
the reason why we're here, and outside of the music, the things that you experience in life that make you who you are.
That's good.
Last week was absolutely incredible. I was watching the Man of God, and the discussion that you guys were having, and one of the things that
Yeah. Yeah.
really stood with me, um,
Yeah.
and this is I had to learn this the hard way.
Go on.
Don't allow what you do to define who you are.
Come on.
Because the moment you allow what you do to define who you are, when that thing is taken away from you, who are you?
Who are you?
And
That's good.
if we're gonna have like good, honest, real conversation, I had to learn that the
Please.
hard way. I had to learn that the hard way, because for me,
Okay.
I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I'm a musician, I'm an artist, this, that, and the other. And then life kicked me in the stomach, and I was out for 18 months. I had to put music and ministry and all that down for 18 months. And then in that period
Oh.
of time, I had to ask myself, like, rah, I thought I was this musician. I thought I was this. And then I really had to face who I really was outside of the accolades, outside of the adulation, outside of the praise from man, and the retweets and the likes and all that kind of stuff. I really had to sit down and ask myself, who am I? Like, who am I?
Oh.
And when you start having those real hard conversations with yourself,
Right.
that's when you start to learn a lot about your journey, your story,
Yeah.
and yeah, man, it's been an amazing one, to say the least, and one that I know that God isn't finished with at this present time.
Yeah. Triple, let's get into that because you touched on some things. And yeah, there's a number of things I can pick out even from what you said. But you said that you took 18 months out.
Mm.
So why was that? Like, what
Yeah,
made you
yeah,
take 18 months out? And yeah, how
yeah,
did you
yeah, yeah,
find
yeah,
that in
yeah.
itself?
So I released the album Zero Not Equal to One, July
Yeah.
July 2017. That was my
Okay.
second full length album. So we'd had projects
Okay.
before then. We'd had releases and things like that.
Yeah.
So I just released the album,
Okay.
July 2017. So I'm getting ready to kind of tour during the summer. I'm getting ready to we had a headline show booked at the O2 in Islington. So
Oh
capacity
wow.
capacity 800 people. It would have been the biggest show I
Yeah.
would have done to date. So I
Yeah.
was we were gearing up towards that. It was like literally a lot of things. Now, one of the things I realized was if you don't deal with your issues, the issues are going to deal with you.
Okay.
And I for a long time, for a long period of time, I'd been wrestling with things I was struggling with in terms of like lust,
Okay.
and
Come on.
relationships with the opposite sex, and self-control and discipline and all these kind of things. And I did not handle myself in a way which was representative of Christ, but how much more so of, you know, the accountability that I spoke of, or just as the person that God would call me to be. Like my eyes wandered. And the reality was there was no discipline. There was no discipline. They say that a city without walls.
Ah,
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
cheerful.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Okay.
So for me, it was just like, all right, cool. I hadn't dealt with these things. And
Mm.
you then get into a performative kind of behavior pattern where it's like,
Okay.
let me present myself in a way which to the world I will show them what I want them to see. So it's
Okay.
easy to play when you play the man of God. You play,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is who people think I am, or these are the expectations that people have of me. So this is what I'm going to show them.
This is what
This
you
is what
want
I'm
to
going
show.
to allow them to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was that. So the album would just come out, this, that, and the other, but I hadn't dealt with the things that were on the inside. And even as I'm speaking to you now, I don't ever want to present myself as an individual that's perfect, got it all together.
Yes. I respect that.
The be all and end all. There are
I
still things
respect
that the
that.
Lord is still working me on, and that's what I've learned, that this thing is life is a journey and not a destination. The moment you get
That's good.
to a destination, you start
Good.
to rest. When you rest, you
Yeah.
relax. When you relax, you become complacent. When you are complacent, you give birth to pride. Pride comes before
Yeah.
fall. You're back in the same cycle again. So when you're on a journey, it's a continuous thing. It's like a marathon. Like, yeah, I gotta
Mm.
keep going. I gotta keep going. I gotta keep
That's
going. I'm
good.
tired, but I gotta keep going. I gotta keep breathing.
Yeah.
I gotta keep pushing.
Yeah.
So that was the mistake I made. I thought I had arrived. I thought I was in a space where, okay, yeah, man's got it together. The album's dropped. People know who I am. Like that element of complacency, of pride, then began to take root in my heart. And the scariest thing
Mm.
is when you sin, or you fall into sin, or you do something that
Come
is
on.
considered sin, and
Yes.
there's
Yes.
a heaviness on your spirit, there's a heaviness in your heart. That's a beautiful thing. It's when the conviction of the Lord really convicts you of the wrong that you're doing. It's something that you should be
Yeah.
thankful for. The
That's
problematic
good.
place is when you sin and there's no conviction. Where you
Yeah.
sin and there's like, it is what it is. When you
Is,
sin and
is
you're
that
like,
a place? Is that a place? Is that a place where you found yourself in?
there's a place I found myself in. Oh
Nice.
yeah. But it's just like, oh, because then as well, a lot of what I had learned in theology, which is not wrong, but the practice of it was wrong, was
Okay.
I'm saved. God will
Yeah.
forgive me. I can't lose
Yeah.
this salvation, which we can't, which is
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
why
Which is a
salvation
beautiful
is
thing.
what it is, because there is no sin that we can do that can outweigh the finished work of Christ. So that's cool. Like, we know that we're saved. We know that the finished work of Christ is complete, is beautiful, is immaculate, goes without saying. But then
Yes,
when you
sir.
allow pride to then push you into sin, Bible says, should we sin so that grace may abound? No, God forbid. Like, that's not what grace is.
Certainly not.
Grace is not like a free 5-day pass. I don't even remember the 5-day pass back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, you
Yeah.
remember the 5-day
I
pass?
was younger. Yeah, but I did. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I remember when I would
T-Mobile
get the
5-day
5-day
pass.
listen, when I got the 5-day pass, every man got a phone call. Everyone got. When there was, you're scrolling for your phone and you're bored and you're like, who can I call next?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not what grace is. Grace doesn't allow
Okay.
us to behave in such a way, but that's
I
the
like
way
this
that we
analogy.
treat grace. That's the way we
Wow.
treat grace like the 5-day pass. And I found myself treating grace like the T-Mobile 5-day pass. But
Wow.
should we sin so that grace may abound? No, God forbid.
God
So
forbid.
anyway, album's dropped now. I
Yep.
haven't dealt with the things I'm dealing with, and then I find myself in a situation where I'm finding myself in, I don't even want to say an entanglement, but like, for a lack of better term. And this is me speaking on me now. This is me speaking
Yes,
on
sir.
me. I
Come on.
had things that the Lord was still working on, and I had things that needed to be dealt with. Anyway, after that, I remember I was I just come back from Germany, doing a
Okay.
few shows out there, and
Awesome.
I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, Toby, your responsibility is gonna change. Life is gonna change. You're about to become a dad.
Oh
So
wow.
in my mind, I'm thinking, God, how does this work with the narrative of the good Christian MC, the big gospel superstar,
Okay.
the reality of the expectations that come upon somebody being in ministry? Like, what does that look like in
What?
the grand scheme of things, considering that doesn't fit the narrative outside the context of its usual standards of the family unit presented by marriage
Uh
and everything like that? I had to really kind of sit up and be like, God, I am scared. That point,
Triple O. You
yeah,
made a listen. There was a big jump there. First, you talk about entanglement. Now you're talking about you being a father. I need to know the in between. So you were doing shows. You were doing your thing.
oh yeah, yeah.
Obviously, you was gonna be in Islington. Like you was gonna do that big show in Islington.
We're getting
800
we're getting ready for
people.
that, yeah.
You're getting ready for that. Like you're a man after God's own heart. No denying that, right? You're saved, you're doing your thing, whatever. But you said, is it the entanglement? Is that when you started finding out that Ron, you was gonna be a dad? Like, what? I want to. I'm sorry. I like to go into the nitty
Yeah,
gritty
no, no, no,
because
no. It's a good question. It's a
this
good
stuff
question.
is real. This
It's
is real. What was that in
I
between?
as real as one definitely needs to be. One definitely needs to apply wisdom. And I think that the reality was my insecurities, my fears, my desire to feel loved and appreciated by the opposite sex, my inability to control myself, my inability to exercise self-control is what pushed that kind of sense of that God-fearing sense of handling things out the window.
Okay.
And one of the things I've realized is that like lust and sex,
Yeah.
that's all surface level.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
only an outcome or an outpour of something that's a deeper rooted issue.
Yeah. That's
And I
good.
didn't know what I didn't have an understanding of what that deeper rooted issue was. It's like, all right, cool. What is it?
Right.
What are you really dealing with? Because lust is not the problem. That's
Right.
put that to the side. That's not the issue. The
Put that
issue
aside.
here
Okay.
is your insecurities as a man, your your
Mm.
your your inability to identify yourself in the image of Christ. Because if you were
Right.
able to do
Right.
that, you would be able to look at Christ. And we say this so casually, WWJD, what would Jesus do? But that wouldn't just be, it would literally govern your thoughts, your actions,
Yeah.
your mindset, your demeanor, your conduct, your speech would be governed by how would Christ interact with sisters? How would, if you are unable to identify yourself in the image of Christ, then your identity is a mess because there's no
So it's an
guideline.
identity issue.
It
Yeah.
was an
Yeah.
identity
Basically.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
an identity issue. And for
Yeah.
me, I'm like, all right, cool. At the time I didn't know this. At the time
Mm.
I didn't want to address it. So
Okay.
that is now the case now. So we're there. So
Right.
I'm now like, all right, cool. I need to sit down. I need to, and this is where the original question came, like, why are we out for 18 months? Because I'm like, yo, we need to sit down. But I remember like 3 weeks later, like 2 or 3 weeks later, I found out that I was now nominated for a mobile. And I was like, oh,
Is it?
crap. I was like, So in my mind, I'm trying to get ready to shut ministry down. And then now we're getting, and I'm like, this isn't what I need right now. This
But I
isn't
agree.
what I,
It's mad though. Do you know what, Juvenile? Sorry, just even on what you're saying, it's the reason why I find it so mad is because even becoming a father is something that, of course, should be celebrated. And obviously, if we were not, if we were not believers, for example, in general, that'd be something like, bro, you're becoming a dad. That's amazing. And then you get nominated for a mobile. Bro,
So
that.
I remember going to the ceremony and
Mm,
literally, God honest truth, I was praying I didn't win.
what?
Yes, because in my mind, I'm getting ready to shut ministry down. I'm trying to shut everything down. I'm like, if we win this, we're gonna have to start doing press. We're gonna start doing this. We're gonna start doing that. I'm praying to God. I do not want to win this thing. God on His truth.
Oh
Let
my
my yes be
God.
yes and my no be no. And that is what sin can do. It will it
Right.
will it will like get to a point where it robs you of things.
Yeah. 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 And so you even felt like it's mad, like basically because of the fact that you was actually becoming a dad, you actually felt like you was not deserving of the potential of actually winning a mobile.
Mm, mm,
You felt like you weren't deserving of that. That's what you're saying? And that
mm,
was the nature of what sin had done.
mm.
That's what sin had done.
Yeah,
Yeah, your back triple should be your back. Don't worry.
am I back here?
You was, yeah. Yeah, you was good. You're talking, and then you went back off again.
How am I now? How am I now?
Should see that coming back. You're still frozen now. Yes, I think you're back
We
now.
good?
Yeah,
We good?
yeah, we're good. We're good. We're
All
good.
right,
Yeah,
cool,
triple.
cool, cool,
So,
cool, cool.
so yeah. I mean, look, it's bro, mobiles, becoming a father. These are things to be celebrated. You're telling me that you were praying you didn't win, and
Mm,
that's what sin
mm,
made you do, and that's oh man,
mm,
that's
mm.
it. That's a massive problem as well that
Yeah. And
many
this
of us
this
go
this
through.
this is why we need to really be um honest with ourselves and the thing, because I wasn't one of the kind of like structures that someone once shared with me, and I try my hardest to try and implement, is the mindset of um that threefold honesty, in terms of being honest with God, being
Yep,
honest with your accountability, um and being honest with yourself.
honest with God, honest with your accountability, and honest with God,
Yourself. So
yourself.
honest with God, honest
Yep,
with
honest with
people
God.
around you, and honest with
Yep,
yourself.
that's
And
good.
if
That's
you
good.
break that, you're gonna struggle, because you're
Right,
gonna find the journey very difficult. You're gonna find life very difficult. You're gonna
very
find
different.
the ability to walk in integrity very difficult. So I realized that,
Mm-hmm.
and this is another thing someone shared with me as well, and I really had to. There's a difference between being honest, and being
Mm-hmm.
truthful and being forthcoming.
Okay, tell us that difference.
So for example, now if you ask me, did you sing
Yeah.
yesterday? I'll be like, yeah, I did. If you didn't ask me, I wouldn't have told you.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
truthful, but I wasn't forthcoming. Whereas
Wow.
whereas you, to be forthcoming, you're like, yo, bro, do you know what? I'm wrestling with this. This is what happened yesterday. Can we do something about it? And I feel like before we would hide our sin, and then we then get to the point where we're truthful about it. Somebody will
Yeah.
pull you up on it, and
Which
then
is
we get to the
real.
point. We need to get to the point where we're not just truthful about what we're wrestling with. We're forthcoming. And I for a long time, I was never, I struggled with being forthcoming, and I think
Why?
that's as
Why?
because
Why?
the expectations, that's a good question. It's the expectations that I placed on myself in pride and in arrogance. The
Okay.
expectations I thought people placed on me in the ministry,
Mm.
or what I was doing. Um, and the facade of trying to present oneself in a particular light. All of these reasons would like all contribute to um, trying to maintain a certain image.
Right.
But then that's almost, that's idolatry, because you want. Sorry, let me speak for myself. I wanted the way that I was perceived to be elevated above the one who is able to do all things for me. That became my perception of me, became my God.
Wow, that's good. That's
And
good. That's real.
if we don't wrestle with that, especially as men, if we don't deal with that, what we then find is that we end up leaning on these emotional or temporary crutches. So
Okay.
these are things, and this is why I said the deeper rooted issue. So if as men we're dealing with fear, we're dealing with insecurity, We want to be seen in a specific light. What we then realize is that, okay, cool. As a man, I want to be successful in my career. My career defines me. Therefore, I'm going to smash it in my career, which is great. But then that thing then becomes your God. It then becomes the thing you elevate above all things.
Right.
Or you want affirmation from the opposite sex. So you then start developing relationships anyhow with women, because you just want somebody to love you. You want somebody to
Right.
tell you that you're needed, or that they want you, or that desire you. Or it could be money, or it could be your car, it could be your living in the gym. These things, these kind of like emotional or temporary crutches that we cling on to as men, that we think are going to define us and define our manhood, when the reality is there's a deeper rooted issue that we need to be honest with ourselves and start unpacking. In the grand sense of these things I've just mentioned, when in the right context, are not bad things, but they're still things. And the moment you put anything above God, you then slip into idolatry. And I think that's what, for me anyway, again, I don't want to speak for any other guy other than myself, that's where the wrestle then came in.
Oh. I mean, so we've spoken about pride. You spoke about these things. You spoke about accountability. So are you telling me that the reason as to why you ended up becoming a father at a time, quote unquote, when you shouldn't have, was simply because you wasn't accountable?
That partly played to it. Yeah, that played into it. And I think as well, what I needed to kind of reassess was, okay, why am I wrestling with the ability to be forthcoming? And you're in circles. Many of us are in circles, Christian circles. Many of us have people around us, but it's about utilizing the people around us. Are we making the most of the people around us and really kind of tackling what needs to be tackled? And that wasn't I wasn't doing that. I refused to do that. And then the journey then became, and I think that's why I was thankful that night at the mobile ceremony when I didn't win. There was a big sigh of relief, because I said, yes, now I can start the process of sitting back, and go and just kind of like breaking down every image of who I thought I was, and every image that I had built up within my head of myself, and saying, okay, cool, God, you know what? You've taken this, because I remember at the beginning I said, if you let what you do define who you are, the moment what you do is taken away from you, you're going to struggle to understand who you are. What I did in terms of my music and the art form and the ministry and the creative aspect of things was now taken away from me. So now God was like, okay, cool, let's really unpack who you are. And I remember one of the biggest lessons I learned in that time period, and I remember summarizing it as this: when you squeeze an orange, out comes orange juice.
Yes, sir.
And what I meant by that is, when you're really under pressure, what's really inside you is what's going to come out.
That's really good. I like that.
I learned that in that period of time. I saw parts of my character. I was like, like, I didn't know I was capable of this, because I was scared. I was fearful. I was allowing fear to govern and shape my decisions and my actions. So what was really inside me was now what was coming out, because of the pressure that was being applied onto me. The pressure of what's so-and-so going to think. The pressure of now, thinking about the responsibilities that are now before me. All of these things, they're now really kind of now on my neck. They're really on my neck. And it's like, all right, cool.
Wow.
The pressure's on you now.
Yeah.
It's now on your neck.
Yeah.
Let's see what your character's really made of.
That's good.
Let's see what your character's really, really made of. And it was a process. It was a long, a hard, humbling process.
And was that, and are you talking about, is this like the 18-month period now, when you kind of, obviously now you've taken that break. So obviously now, in that 18 months, obviously, your child would have come. I don't know if you were still writing music and etc. Like, I don't even know what did accountability and etc. change. Like, bro, what actually happened? Like, because it's mad, because this is something that many men, whether they're gonna be vocal about it or not, men love women, right? A lot of men love women, right? And they love and it. you know, sometimes innocent talking and etc. turns to touching turns to this and that. So I don't know.
Mm.
I'd love for you to even go in a bit about, you know, what, like your, I guess your lack of boundaries that result that kind of led you to being in
Mm.
that, but also just that kind of like 18-month period in terms of like, yo, okay, is now after you come to that realization, like this is what's what. How did you even navigate that as being
Yeah.
the person that you were?
Yeah. So one of the things I learned a lot in that period of time. Another standout lesson for me was be humble or be humbled.
Right.
And I there was that element of pride. Okay, cool. Dealing with like your growth and your journey and your walk. Sometimes get off your high horse and say, God, let's go back to basics. And what am I dealing with? If you think you're in a position where you're not wrestling with anything, you're not dealing with anything, God's going to put you in a position where, all right, cool, you don't want to be humble. I'm about to humble you.
Right.
And when God humbles you, it's a different kind of humility he presents you with.
Right.
So I remember in that period of time, one of my good friends, he said to me, "Yo, Triple," and this is where I then started to really um, be grateful for the accountability that God had placed around me. He says to me, "Yo, Triple, keep writing. Like,
Mm.
pen everything down. Don't write for music. Don't write for an EP. Don't write for a project. Don't just write. Just see this as your David, and these are your Psalms, and you're
Right.
just penning
Right. Right.
down
Right.
like without any sort of question, without any sort of filter, without any sort of anything, what you're really feeling, what you're wrestling with, what you're dealing, how your thought process, your emotions, your all of these things. Just write it all down. And I remember in that period of time I was writing, and I'm so thankful to God I was doing that because it came around full circle. But I'll get to that later on.
Yes, sir.
So um, I then had to really address who was around me,
Okay.
and really had to kind of like think, and this isn't me cutting people off. Oh no. This is me now saying, okay, who's really for me? Who's really praying for me? Who wants to be like, okay, cool. Let's give you a slap on the wrist, but that's it. Whatever's happened has happened. Has happened. Let's move
Okay.
forward. Let's now
Okay.
say, let's start the restoration process,
Right.
and then that's when you then start to, or that's when I started to be so grateful for the brothers and sisters that God had placed around me. I was incredibly grateful for the individuals who are like, we don't, triple O is, that's not a thing. Now let's have a conversation with Toby.
That's good.
Let's take off. Let's
Take
Batman
off
take
the
the suit.
name.
Let's
That's
deal with
good,
Bruce
man.
Wayne. Do you know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say? Like,
Yeah.
let's take the mask off. Let's
I like that. I
let's
like that.
really kind of like put that to the side. And I remember
I
when I
like
put them,
that.
literally that was the analogy that ran with me. I felt like, raw, okay, cool. I felt like I was trying to be a superhero, but look,
Okay.
listen, we're going to take the cape and the cowl off. I'm going to put it to the
Come
side
on.
and let's deal with
Come on, bro.
the person and those
Toby.
people who didn't care about the escapades of what you did on stage. They
Yeah.
now want
Yeah.
to kind of like deal with the reality of who you are and what you're about and really start the restoration process. That
Come on.
that that sense of, okay, let let's start that. Okay, let's repent, let's restore, let's unpack grace, let's come about practical
Wow.
solutions of, because then that's, remember before we were talking about what grace isn't. Earlier on we said, oh, grace
Yeah.
isn't a life, but grace is this reminder of God's love,
Yes, sir.
and the ability to soothe every sore wound that think makes us think that we're not worthy. That kind of takes the sins that separate us from God, and kind of just like removes that, and it's like a balm,
What
a
should I
soothing
say?
balm that
Yeah.
brings us back into the arms of the Father.
Yeah.
When grace is applied, it's a beautiful reminder of God's unconditional love.
Come on,
because
man.
because because what I then saw was, because of my, this is me taking responsibility for my actions,
Yeah.
because of
Come on.
my
Come on.
inability to behave in an integral way,
Yeah.
men and women then be like, okay, give me the side eye. Ah, this guy is he's useless. We're washing our hands of him. Rightfully so. But that's what man does. That's what man can do.
That's
That's
what
what
man does.
man is all about. We're based on condition. Because then now when you then go to God, you then realize that he's unconditional. There aren't any conditions to the love of God. There aren't any conditions to God's grace. As long as you humble yourself, come before him and say, Lord, I am a sinner and I need you more than anything. Will you take me as I am? Like the prodigal son.
That's
I need to
so
come
good.
back. And then you
That's
realize,
good.
he accepts you. He loves you. That's unconditional. There's no boundaries.
He does.
Man,
He does. He does.
man, it's like, okay, if you show me you're sorry, if you tell me you're sorry, if you can prove to me you're sorry, if you can do A, B, C, D, all of these things, then I will forgive you. Then I
Wow.
will bring you back into my circle. Then we can
Wow.
chat on WhatsApp. Then I'll retweet your posts. These are the
Right.
conditions. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
These are the conditions
But
we're man.
when we're looking at grace, grace is like God on the day of judgment when we stand before a holy and righteous God. God, I don't deserve to be here, but because of what he did, Jesus Christ, because of what he did on the cross of Calvary, you have to let me in. Not because of anything I
Yes,
did.
man. Come
If
on,
left to my
bro.
own if left to my own devices, I'm oh wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death. Do you know what I'm saying?
Jesus.
Like
Jesus.
we're flawed. Romans
Yeah.
3 talks
Yeah.
about how sinful we are and how
Hmm.
broken we are and how our sin takes us and places a heavy load on our shoulders that we're unable to move, or the guilt that when it comes to stepping into the presence of God, we're like, God, I don't do. But grace is saying, God, I don't deserve to be here, but because of what your son Jesus Christ did, like
Yes.
you have to let me in. I've repented and I believe in him, and now I'm hiding behind him. And the only reason I'm allowed into the club is because he's got VIP access. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He knows the
I love the
manager.
analogy.
That's gonna
I love the analogy.
allow me to enter in,
Okay.
or else
That's so good.
I'm not getting in. I'm not getting in.
Yeah.
And when I started to understand
Ah.
that the beauty behind God's grace,
Yes,
it
sir.
really I had to be humbled. I had, because some people were showing me conditions and were cutting ties because of
Were these
behavior.
and Triple O, were these people of God as well? Were these fellow brothers and sisters in a faith
Do you know
that
what's do you
were
know do you know do you know what's so
treating you
incredible?
like this?
Do you know what's so incredible? And this is no fault, and I don't want to push blame onto anyone, because again, I have to take responsibility for my own actions. Okay. I remember receiving a lot more love and encouragement from non-believers than from those in the body of Christ. But I understand why. I understand why. And this is not me,
Can you are you gonna explain
because
why?
there are those who know better should be able to do better. So it's not like I am a baby in Christ and oh, he's done wrong. Let's do you get what I'm trying to say? There is a heavy mantle that is going to be placed on those who go forth and who step into the platform, step into the light, and place this kind of responsibility upon themselves due to the call of God to speak God's word to God's people. You're going to be judged
Right,
differently.
right.
Facts. Yeah. So the reality of that is just something you just have to live with. Yeah.
But
So
this is my problem. But go
see
on,
this. Yeah.
go
See
on.
this is the thing. So because of that, there is a certain expectation that is placed on people in the church who are in positions of authority, of leadership. Now, is this
Right,
right? Is it wrong? I mean, I get why, because you've chosen to be an example, so therefore people need to make an example of you.
yeah,
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 so that your members don't fall into, or those who are leading, or those who you're walking with do not make the same mistake, or they don't see your actions as justification for sin.
right,
So
right.
I get it. Like I wasn't mad when when I was in a position where people were writing articles about my situation. Like I
Right.
wasn't, because if it was Benny Hinn or Creflo Dollar or Kirk Franklin or whoever else, it would be the same thing. It would be so.
It Yeah, no,
So
it
done.
would be. It would be, but
Mm.
there's something that you said that was so deep, and this is why I think that this is what I think is almost stops us from being transparent and being real. And when we're suffering with things, we don't talk. You just said that the unbeliever was more gracious to you than the believer, but the
Oh, yeah, yeah,
believer
yeah.
is the one who has Christ dwelling inside of them, right? Who, as you said, gives us grace that is what? Not conditional, unconditional. And we are called to be like him. You're saying, and this is what I'm saying, and do you think that this could have played a part as to why you wasn't so accountable?
So what I don't want to do, because this is the thing, we have to be very, very careful. We don't want to get into a space where believers and those in the body of Christ, we're saying condone sin. If somebody sinned, and
Okay.
just kind of like let them. Do you get what I'm trying to say? There needs to be
Right.
an element of rebuke. There needs to be an element of repentance.
Agreed.
There needs to be there is a process, and you
Right.
have to remember those who are outside of the faith, their standards for holiness, their standards for truth, their standards for doing things according to the Bible are different. So
True. True.
they're not going to understand the spiritual things. They're not going to understand the measurements in which we have to measure ourselves by, namely being the Word of God and the image of Christ. That's who we measure
True.
ourselves up against.
That's the word
In
of God.
saying that, there is still an element of grace that isn't shown, which is why you find a lot of believers who do fall into sin, who do
Yep.
commit one sense of thing or another. They're scared
Mm-hmm.
to go to the church because of
Yeah.
fear of condemnation. And I think there needs to be a balance, but I feel that still also needs to be addressed within the body of Christ.
Oh, 1 million%. What 1 million%? Because we're still seeing that people are men like yourselves. We're seeing that people of God are finding themselves in positions necessarily that they shouldn't be in, and they're not speaking about it.
Mm.
Yes, an element of it is pride, but I'm sure if there was grace, more grace displayed from brothers and sisters, you see, and listen, and more grace displayed doesn't mean that you're condoning it. Do you get what I mean? Because you can be rebuked. Listen, big bro, if I move mad, he's gonna rebuke me. I know, but I know that I'm still loved by him. And because of his love for me, he's rebuking me and disciplining me. Why? Because he wants me to be the best person I can be. He wants me to be the person God has called me to be. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
there's a big problem when we're talking about coming to the church, and it's like, you can't even say, even if they say what happened, you're just going to deny or you're just going to lie because you don't want to be seen as XYZ. But listen, this is, yeah, listen,
No, you're
this is
speaking
a
truth.
deep
You're speaking
topic.
facts. Real talks. Real talks.
It's real, but even I'd love to know again, like, tell us about, so the unbelievers were showing you support, right? Great. More support than the believers, but still you're going through this process. You're in this 18 months. Talk us through it. Like,
Yeah.
we need to know
So,
the nitty gritties, man.
yeah. So, this isn't to discount the love and the support of those in some. I had some incredible support and love from certain believers in the faith. Absolutely incredible. And it would be very selfish and foolish of me to disregard that. It would be
Describe that,
very,
right?
very selfish for me to disregard it. And then to make
Yeah,
general
come on.
statements to say the church were not accepting, but the worlds were. Do you get what I'm trying to
Right,
say?
right.
So now I'm now going on this journey, and I'm now having conversations with people. And I remember a conversation I had, and this is now where we come into God's perfect plan and purpose. Yeah, this is the part where we get to God's perfect plan and purpose,
Yes,
because
bro. Super.
God's nothing surprises God, nothing
True.
shocks God. He is
Come on.
omnipotent, omnipresent, and
Yes, he is.
omniscient for a reason.
Yes, he is. Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
All right.
Yes,
Cool.
he is.
So I remember I had a conversation with one of my boys, my boy Faith Charles, and we went out to Basaba, and I remember when I was kind of like having this conversation with him. and telling him the situation and what was going to happen. And one of the, again, because he relates to where I am. He's an artist himself. He's another, and he said to
Right.
me,
Right.
"When it's time, you will know it's time." And
Okay.
I didn't understand. I didn't understand what that means. But when it's time, you know that it's time. I said, "All right, cool."
Yeah. No,
Anyway,
cliche. Yeah.
so we fast forward, and we thank God, and God, baby girl was delivered safely, and that was an incredible experience in and of itself. But then I still didn't feel free because everybody who needed to know around me knew what the situation was. But because I'm a public figure, for lack of a better term, there was still
Yeah.
an element
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
you need to let fans know, you need to let your supporters know, people who are, do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But I just didn't know how, when, where. I didn't know what that was going to look like. So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
she arrived on the 17th of May. So I remember a week later, the 25th of May, a week later, I said to myself, I then started to compose my Instagram post to announce it to the world a week after. And I remember it took me 2 days to write. It took me 2 days to write this thing. And I remember sending it to my pastors and my accountability and brothers in the faith. And I was like, can you check this? Can you check this? They were like, no, reword this. Don't say this. Don't say that. Don't say this. Don't say that there. And the post is still on my Instagram. It's still on my Instagram to today. And there's a reason why that's the case, but
Yeah.
I'll come to that in a bit.
You go into it. Yeah.
And I remember 25th of May, and I remember this date very, very clearly. I remember I was on a lunch break at work, and I remember I posted it on my Instagram. And I remember switching off my notifications. I was like, done it now. Close my eyes, let it go. 30 seconds later, my WhatsApp is pinging, iMessage is pinging, phones are pinging. I'm like, I forgot people can contact me here. So that's
Wow.
that. And I'm like, all right, cool. Do you know what? It is what it is. But what I then received, and this is where I then realized there is grace in the body of Christ, because when I saw the messages on that post, they were so beautifully there. It was like God
Wow.
just using people to remind me
Wow.
how graceful he is and how much he loves me and how
Wow.
much he's gonna. And there was just this comment after comment, encouragement after encouragement after encouragement after encouragement.
Wow.
And I was like, God, you really do love me. And
Amen.
you're using the people of God to remind me just how much you love me. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's why we shouldn't. There was a sermon that Pastor Emmanuel was giving on Sunday, and he was talking about when we attack the body of Christ, we're committing suicide. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say, like that's what we're doing, and so
We're doing.
discount how beautiful and how gracious the body of Christ is, and how accountability
Good
is, and
man.
how people are when we do that. Remember, what Faith said to me: when it's time, and you'll know. So I thought this is when I thought it was time. So I just did that. God on his truth, bro. Again, facts only, dates by dates. You can go check this out. 4 days later, May the
Okay.
29th, 2018,
Yeah.
I remember waking up, and I remember going onto Instagram, so social media anyway, and everyone's buzzing. Everyone's like, oh, have you heard? Have you heard? Oh my gosh. Da, 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 da. Everyone's talking. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? The TL's buzzing. Pusha T put out a diss track. Drake's got a child. Da, 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 da. And Pusha T exposed him. I remember
Oh
sitting like
yeah.
4 days after I posted my post. I was like,
Oh yeah.
and I said to myself, if I didn't tell my story, who would have told it for me? If I
Wow.
didn't take control and onus of the
That's
position that
really
I
good.
was in, somebody else would have told the story for. And I was looking at that situation. I was like, wow, God, is this what you've
Wow.
saved me from? Because you gave me the grace to take responsibility for my actions.
That's so good. You took
And
responsibility.
I was scared. That's what I'm saying. Remember, I said I was scared. I was so scared.
I can imagine.
I'm thinking what people are going to say, how this, all this kind of stuff. But then it's just like, yo, God, you know what? You said through my brother, when it's time, and you know that it's time.
That's it. That's
And
it.
I just then all things started to work together for his good, according to those who are
Yes,
called
sir.
to his purpose. All we
That's
need
it.
to do is
Yeah.
love God. If we
Yeah.
love God, then things will work out for our good. And I'm holding on to that promise. And even as I'm
That's it.
saying all of this, I'm not saying all of this from a place of I've got it all together.
Yeah.
I know it's right. I've got it right. Did you understand? There were actions and inactions that allowed me, that forced me to make decisions that I shouldn't have made. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I never, even
Yeah.
as I'm sharing this now, I'm not speaking from a place of, yeah, man's back, man's got it. Because no, that's not the case.
That's not
Throughout
okay.
this whole period of time, I'm still writing. I'm still
Okay.
writing. We get to the end of that season, and I felt at peace to come back into music.
No.
So I said, all right, cool, we're going to come back into music. And then I
So
remember...
for clarity, Jiblo, because you know when
Mhm.
you said you was writing, I know you was writing different things before. I know you were journaling, etc. So when you're saying writing, are you saying that you was also writing tracks though, despite the fact you weren't putting music out? You were
I
writing
was,
songs and writing tracks,
I
or
was writing lyrics.
right?
I wasn't writing songs. I was like conscious streams of thoughts. That's what they were.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were
yeah.
just lyrics that I'm writing, and I'm just writing. I had no intention of turning them into songs. It was just streams
Okay,
of thoughts that I was putting down.
yeah,
And then I felt the peace to kind of start music again, but I
yeah,
didn't feel at peace to make music without addressing where I'd come from and what I'd been through. Mainly
okay,
because that's what my music had been synonymous with up until that point, just having real dialogue
right,
in the music.
right,
So I remember listening to that. There was a song I was listening to, and then there was a statement that stood out to me, and the
yeah,
statement was "Cry like a man." And I heard that statement, and I was like, "Yeah, that's the name of the
yeah.
EP.
That's
That's the name.
good. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the name of the
yeah.
EP." So
Right,
and then
right.
I looked at everything
That's
I'd
good.
been working on, and I was like, "This is
Yeah,
what we're gonna. This is what the EP is gonna be about. I'm gonna use this project
yeah.
as an opportunity to unpack how I had to how manhood was shaped for me,
Right.
what manhood looked like for me, how I had to navigate through manhood through that period of time,
Yeah,
and cry like a man. We have this beautiful example of the ultimate man, Jesus Christ, when
yeah,
when
yeah.
he lost Lazarus, and he cried. And
He cried.
one thing that stood out to me when I see that story, it was like, yo, this is Jesus, a man who is all power. You gotta remember, Jesus is God, and he knows he's God. He knows he has the ability to bring this man back from the dead. He knows who he is,
Yeah, yeah. That's
but
good.
he
I know.
still allowed himself to be emotionally intelligent.
Right. Yes, he did.
He
Yes,
was
he did.
still understanding of the importance of managing your emotions. That is a beautiful example of a man managing his emotions and not allowing his emotions to manage him. Do you want an example of a man who allowed his emotions to manage him? Let's go
Go
back to
on.
the Old Testament. Cain and Abel, two
Okay.
brothers.
That's good. That's
You've
good.
got
Come
you've
on,
got
teach us.
Cain. Yeah, you got
Yeah,
Cain, and
yeah,
Cain is
yeah.
seeing what Abel's doing, and Abel's sacrifice is pleasing unto God. You got to remember, God pulled Cain to the side. He said, "My guy, big man,
Big
you
man.
see the way you're feeling now.
It's
I
mad.
beg, keep your emotions in check. Keep it up, because
Yes,
if you don't,
man.
you're gonna end up doing something stupid." He
Yes,
pulled
sir.
Cain to the side. He said, "Big man, keep your emotions in check. If you
There
do
was a
not manage
warning.
your emotions, you're gonna end up doing something stupid." He allowed,
Yeah,
what did Cain do? He allowed his fear, his
yeah,
anguish, his
yeah,
jealousy, his resentment over his
yeah.
brother to dictate his actions to the point where he then killed his brother. That's when your emotions, when the emotions manage you as a man, you go and end up doing stupid stuff.
Right.
But when you allow yourself
My
to
God.
grieve when you need to grieve and manage your emotions, just as Jesus manages emotions, you then able to think clearly and make the right steps as to what to do next. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you're like, all right, cool.
I do. I do.
I've let it all out. One of
Yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite scriptures in the Bible, and every time I hold on to this so tightly. First Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. And the latter half of it says, "And David encouraged himself in the Lord." I
yeah.
love that scripture with all my heart, because let's put that scripture into context. So,
Please.
um, beginning of chapter 30, David and his men, they've gone to war,
Mhm.
and they come back. Their camp
Mhm.
has been ransacked. Their
Yeah.
wives and
Yeah.
children taken. Their goods taken. Like, everything is a mess. David's like, "Yo, what is going on?" The men are like, "Yo, what's going on? This is everything is a mess."
It's nuts.
I think in verse 4 it says, David and his men, they cried and wept till they had no more strength.
Jesus.
And when you like envision that, a man weeping and crying till you are physically unable to do nothing or anything. That's how much they cried and wept. And remember, they were crying and weeping together, David and his men. Then his men turn on David and say, yo, David, you're the reason why we're in this position.
Yeah.
David's like, whoa, big man, we were just crying together. Like, how are
Literally.
you now? How
They
are you
me.
now? How are you now turning on me? How are you now turning on me? David had to kind of step aside from all of the noise and take his emotions and say, God, what's going on? This is how I'm feeling. This is where my head is at. This is what's... And then that's where we get to verse 6. When we get to verse 6, it says, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. Verse 8, I think it's verse 8, where he said he inquired of the Lord. And God said to him, you will pursue, you will overtake, and you will recover all.
Come on.
And then he went to war, and that's exactly what happened. So I remember kind of like all like in that season, and then getting to a place where I'm like, God, what's going on? What's going on? Like feeling just, I'm like, God, what is going on? And I had to encourage myself in the Lord. I had to manage my emotions. I had to understand what I was dealing with, and say, all right, we're going to put this all in the music.
And can I ask? Can I
Yeah.
ask for as well? Yeah. When you said like, you had to encourage yourself in the Lord. So practically, what did that look like?
So practically, that looked like crying when I needed to cry.
Wow, come on, man.
Admitting fear and failure when I needed to admit it to myself.
Come on, man.
Really being naked with God. Sometimes
right.
we turn prayer or conversation with God into such a chore we don't know how to be honest with him. But sometimes you just need to say, God, I'm really upset. I don't really feel like talking to you right now. I'm scared. Nobody likes me. My Instagram followers are going down. Nobody's streaming my music. Nobody's retweeting my tweets. Nobody's phoning my phone. Nobody's...
Wow. That's
You
real.
know what I'm trying to say?
This
is the reality of what I'm like, yo, but God, do you know what? This is where my head's at. This is where my head's at. So that's that. Encouraging myself. Then it's about having, remember earlier on I said about being truthful and being forthcoming. The truthfulness wasn't enough. I had to be forthcoming with my brothers in Christ. It was at that point.
Wasn't enough.
Truthfulness wasn't enough. I had to be forthcoming. I had to be, yeah, guys, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm dealing with. This is how I'm feeling. This is where we're navigating through. And so those are some of the practical ways of how I had to encourage myself in the Lord. And we were getting there, and I remember cry like a man. And I was like, all right, cool. This is what's going to look like. And then all of that stuff I'd been writing now started to make sense because God knew the project was going to come. Because a lot of the stuff that when you listen to the EP, a lot of the stuff that I was writing, I wouldn't have been able to accurately convey in hindsight.
Right.
God knew that this project, God knew, this is what I'm saying, God's perfect purpose, God's perfect plan. He knew that this project was going to be there. So he said, you need to start putting it together from now in its rawest of forms. So that...
So this is, are you saying, so this is like all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. This is you seeing this now. Okay, dope. Yeah, carry on.
So now we're making the music, and I'm like, yo, I'm scared. How are people going to receive? I'm coming back into after 18 months out. It's now it's 2018. Back in 2018, I'm just like, yo, we need to. We're okay, cool. We're doing this now. Or sorry, 2019. We're doing this now. Okay, cool. God, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Now, I didn't even know that there was. So the title had come to me. The title had come to me, and I knew what the project was going to be about. Then I told my friend. I said, okay, cool. This is what the project's going to be about. He said, oh, you're based it on the book. I said, what book? I didn't know if I had a book. A week later, he gave me this.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I've never read it before. He said, go and read it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
When I read this book, Cry Like a Man, it really changed my perspective of what manhood looked like and what I needed to learn. It's by Jason Wilson. Cry Like a Man
Jason
by
Wilson, yeah,
Jason
cry
Wilson.
like a man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm,
put that
mhm.
in the comments. Put that in the comments. But yeah, yeah,
And
dope.
I really had to like, okay, look, this is more than just an EP now. It's not just
Man.
we're gonna make music for the, like you're gonna tell a story. You're gonna share your thoughts. You're gonna share your fears. You're gonna share the realities because you are not the first person to be in this position. You are not the only person going through this position, and you're
Yeah,
not going to be
yeah.
the last person who's going to go through
Not
this.
gonna be the last.
So
That's good.
that
That's
being the
good.
case,
Yeah,
you need to tell your story to the glory of Christ.
that's good.
Share your
So good.
experiences to the glory of Christ. I remember, this saying sticks with me so hard.
That's
So
good.
they say, someone said, they say experience is the best teacher. That's what they teach
Mhm.
us in schools. I say experience is the teacher of fools because a wise man will learn from another man's errors, then apply that to determine what he shall choose. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah. That's
that's
good.
so true.
That is
That's
true.
so true. Why do I need to put my hand in fire to know that fire burns?
Yeah, it don't make
If I've
sense.
seen if I it doesn't make sense.
Don't
If I've
make
already
sense.
seen his scars
Yeah, yeah,
from the burns, then I
yeah,
know as a
yeah,
wise man, don't put your hand in fire.
yeah,
So the
yeah.
EP was me sharing my scars with the world, so that people were like, "Listen, this is what happens when you don't deal with your emotions, when you don't have the good accountability around you, when you're not honest with the things you need to be honest with, and you're not really willing to unpack what needs to be unpacked.
Mm,
Let me put this out there for you, so you don't have to
that's so
put your hand
good.
in fire to know that fire." Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
And
the
that's how the
perspective
EP
there
was
is
birthed.
dope.
And that's like how we got to that place.
Bro, this has been powerful, man. And listen, we could literally be going back and forth all night
Mm,
because I still even feel like there's so much I even want to unpack.
mm, mm.
I want to give the mandem as well a chance as well to ask you some questions, man. Like, please, guys, put your questions in the comments. We'll try to get through as many of them as possible. You know, your questions, direct questions, your real questions. You know, from Triple O and Triple O. Listen as well. I really appreciate the authenticity here as well and
Mm.
even just for us to understand even the background behind this body of work as well, it's definitely gonna hit us different as well when we listen to it. But yeah, man, I want to give these guys a chance as well to really ask you real questions, and hopefully we can just answer as many as we can,
Mm.
obviously before the time cuts off. But listen, transparency is everything, man. This has been beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's amazing getting the opportunity to share this
Yeah,
because for me, it's a reminder. Like I said, it's a reminder of God's grace.
yeah,
And again, I put in the caveat, like I don't speak from a place of getting it right the whole way through. I don't speak from a place of, oh yeah, that was the story, and now I'm now king of the jungle. Like
yeah.
there's still complex situations and scenarios that I'm still navigating through.
So,
But one of the things I'm learning is that we can't hide the goodness and the favor and the mercy of God, especially when we know that what we have can positively impact and affect somebody else, can
yeah,
save somebody from making a certain mistake, can really push them through their journey.
yeah, yeah,
You understand what I'm trying to say?
yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
That is powerful. Okay, so we got a question, and Todd, if you can blow it up, yeah. So, what did the book reveal to you and your journey?
A lot of the stuff I shared today, a lot of the stuff I've shared in this thing, like how pride is the killer of so many men. Like I
Mm,
won't say it's the underlying issue for every single man, but we really wrestle with pride. It may manifest itself in different ways,
yeah,
but pride is definitely something that if you don't deal with, it
yeah,
will really cause you to question just your walk in general, and you won't even know that it's
mm,
being called into question.
yeah.
As a man, I think the biggest insult to a man is to question his integrity. I
Elaborate.
think, I think, so. You got to understand that as a man, it is our responsibility to provide, to protect, um, and to set an example, whether it be within the church, whether it be
Yep.
within our household, whether
Yeah.
it be for our children, whether it be for our wives, whether it be for our siblings, whatever the context.
Yeah.
The underlying thing to be able to play those positions well is integrity. If you say one thing and you're unable to follow through with it, or your ability to walk in truth is not there, you're unable to fulfill those duties to their maximum capacity.
Right.
You can't be a faithful husband if you're not integral. You can't be a diligent church leader if you're not integral. You can't
Integral.
be a very well-grounded worker in your workplace who is going to get the benefits of promotion if you are not integral. It just doesn't. It's not possible.
It's not
So
possible.
when a man's integrity is called into question,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's dangerous. And for me, like, my integrity was called into question. I questioned my
Yes.
integrity.
Your
I questioned
integrity.
my own integrity.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think it's one of those things where that's one of the things. But then this is the thing. Don't then make the mistake of, oh, I'm integral, because then you then slip into pride, and pride comes before a
Yeah.
fall.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's almost
That's
like,
good.
God, give me your grace to
Great.
be humble, but
Yeah.
still be integral and truthful to the utmost degree.
That's good. I really like that. That's good. I want to blow up. There's some couple questions that we need to get through, Triple O. So, okay, so let's go to Apostle Iman Akinfenwa. For someone that had a platform, do you feel like the platform allowed you to be complacent when it came to secret issues?
Yeah, because there's this image of you have to. People feel like you have to present yourself in a certain way.
Yeah.
So if I have a white shirt, it's white. I can't
Yes,
let
sir.
you see the dirt stains. So let me tuck it in. Let me wear it. Let me wear it inside out.
Right.
You're wearing the shirt inside out. The shirt is still dirty.
It's still
So
dirty.
to the outside world, people who see you from afar, oh, that's a nice white shirt he's got on.
Right.
But you
right,
come closer, you're like, hold on, he's wearing it inside out. Hold on a second, turn it inside out. That's a dirty shirt. So from afar, you look pristine, you look clean, you look well put together. But the reality is, when you come closer and then you really get underneath it, your shirt's dirty. But you want to give off the image of this thing because you want people to see you in a specific light. So for me, it was like, I wanted people to see me in a certain light, which was dangerous, which was pride, which was wrong.
Right. No, that's really good. Another question. Todd, please blow this up. How did you deal with having to look after your child unexpectedly? Were you prepared financially? And how did you manage the relationship between yourself and the mom?
So again, I have to apply complete wisdom with regards to this question because it's a very, very sensitive issue. When I speak on my testimony and my story and my journey, I can only speak for myself. The reality is I'm still navigating through it. And I'm like, God, how am I able to do this in a way where you are honored and I'm doing that which is right? It's difficult. And again, I never present myself in a way where I've got it right. This is how it's working. It's challenging, and I have found the whole journey challenging. But one of the beautiful things I've learned is that God is so graceful. And even as difficult as the whole journey may be, one thing I've learned from everything is that, okay, cool, there is a perfect plan and purpose through it all. And I have to hold on to that. Because there are the responsibilities that are going to be given to an individual, that are going to be given to one as a man when that responsibility of life befalls upon them. And at times, have I handled that responsibility or carried it with the strength I needed to carry it? No, because it's a new experience for me. But am I learning and am I pushing through and trying to make the situation as it is something that it needs to be? Definitely, because at the end of the day, all these lights, the moment this broadcast is shut off, all of that is gone. Everybody goes back to their day-to-day living. And now I'm faced with the reality of what is before me. So it's something that the Lord is still giving me the grace to navigate through. But it's something that we are I'm definitely kind of like working through by His grace.
Oh, that's dope, man. I'm gonna blow up another question. From Mufe. How do you work on yourself where you struggle with self worth, especially when you identify yourself? And I can see in another comment he talks about, with your work and talent.
Yeah. Um, I think the best thing to do is accountability is so key.
Right.
I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still walking through life. I'm still navigating through life. So if I have individuals, especially men, yeah.
Hmm.
So let's look at it
Hmm.
biblically. Yeah, Elisha had Elijah.
That's good. That's good. That's
Timothy
good.
had Paul. The
Cool. Yeah, you do.
disciples had Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
There has always been a precedence throughout scripture of young men sitting at the feet of older men and learning before the baton was passed. Yeah.
I love
So if
that.
I
I love
want to
that.
understand what
I love that.
my relationship is with my identity, I need to be at the feet of, or in the presence of, or in the presence of accountability who have identified their identity. Do you know what I'm trying to
That's
say?
good. You have identified
Because
it. Yep. Yep. Yep.
if we're both, if I'm blind, I can't lead myself. And
Yeah.
if I can't, so I need somebody with vision and foresight to be like, yo, let me take your hands. Yeah. I've been through this journey. I know what you're going through. Let me just guide you through. Let me guide you through. And I think that is part of how that kind of works and how I was able to do that. Then at the same time,
Yeah.
just being honest with myself, understanding
Mm,
my flaws.
mm,
Um, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to
yeah.
be fearful. But when you allow fear to stop you from engaging with purpose, you miss out. You miss out.
Wow.
So you can't allow fear to kind of hold you back to the point where you start to question, who you are in Christ. And
Wow.
that's, I think that's, sorry, that's the key thing.
Come on.
Modeling yourself after Christ, hiding yourself
Yeah.
in Christ. Like
Yeah.
his image is who we are supposed to reflect.
Yes,
And
sir.
when we can really say, okay, cool, God, let's just, God, who am I? Who are you? Who are you, Lord? Like,
Mm,
let me know more about you. Let me see who is Jesus.
yeah.
It's in that sense of unpacking ourselves in Him that we get to a place where we're like, God, I think I have a better understanding of who I am because I know who you are.
Wow. That's good. That's really good, Triple O. And one last question. I'm going to tackle it. From Ryan Beguera. How do you recognize pride and idolatry in your life? And how would you then deal with those issues?
Um, I think again, I'm gonna come stress it back to accountability and having people around you because sometimes you won't
Yeah.
see it,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you won't recognize it straight away.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to answer the question, and then I'll come back to accountability. Complacency is a big, big thing. When you think that
Right.
everything's easy and you're coasting, and yeah, I've got this. Like I remember back in the day, like I'm talking like 2006, 2007, when I was doing shows, I would walk on stage with my Bible. I would walk on stage with my Bible, like, yes, I'm gonna perform, I'm gonna minister, do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
2 days
Yeah.
before the show, I'm rehearsing, I'm going in, I'm going into quiet time worship. I fast forward to 2015, 2000, no, 2018, 2017, 2015, the latter years. Oh, I've got a show on Saturday. Oh yeah, I'll pick my set when I get there. I'll do you know what I'm trying to say? That element of diligence, that element of being careful, the element of God, what I'm doing this unto you, that sense of God, I can't do it by myself. It's all gone now because of complacency. And the moment you
Mm,
start to see that, then you need to kind of like, yo, let's unpack this. Let's really, 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 really deal with this. Um, and I think that's how I would recognize it myself. I said, coming back to accountability, people around you, people who don't
mm.
look at what you do as a thing, and they're like, we know you for who you are. Right now, you're moving mad. Do you want to sit down, my bro?
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Do you want to sit down? That's good.
When you have people who can keep it like 100 with you in that area, I'm telling you, you're going to save yourself a lot of hassle and heartache from in the long in the grand scheme of things.
Listen, you done so well. You answered the questions. Listen, Triple O, I'm telling you, please, this can't be the last time.
Mm,
It's been
not at all.
fantastic,
It's been
man.
an amazing journey. We thank God.
It really has, and I think I just love the way that you're just so transparent with us and just real and talking about these things, and even like certain questions to be able to say, look, right now I'm still working through this thing, and
Mm,
so, and even the responsibility where you saying, look, I can only talk from myself here and my
mm.
own perspective. Do you get what I mean? So I think that was just dope. And if there was like, just even in summary as well, like, if there was like one piece of advice that you could leave us with, before we even, I just go into the event reminders and close out,
Mm.
what, I know it's hard, but if you could just sum up even in one line, like, what would you tell us? What would you tell the man then in response to bro, what happened
Yeah,
here?
yeah. I'll summarize it as this: whatever you do, whatever you do it
Well,
for one, but before many.
that's
Whatever
good.
you do it for one, but before many. So,
Good.
in the sense of, and this is this is one of the mantras that I live with. So, if we knew that prime minister or the president or whatever this high dignitary was before us, and they were scrutinizing our work, we would give it 110%. We would go
100%,
so
yeah.
hard. If you knew that you were going to win £1 million based on the judging of one person, you would give it your all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That mindset to give it 110%, regardless of who is around you, needs to be the mindset that shapes and conditions your actions, your speech, your conduct, your demeanor. Because whatever
okay.
we do, we're doing it for one, we're doing it unto the glory of the Lord Jesus Christ. We just so happen to be doing it before many people around us.
Yeah,
Okay. So that means if you are a loving and faithful husband, be a loving and faithful husband to 100% of your capacity onto the glory of the Lord. Yeah.
yes,
If
sir.
you are
Yes,
at
sir.
work and you're diligently doing your work, then do it 100%. If you're in your quiet space and you know that there's someone that you some a girl that you could call who you know that could do a little thing with, but you know that just no, like do it your walk 100%, because it's so easy for us to do what almost like a performative mindset where
Yeah,
let me play Christian in front of Christians, and then the
yeah,
Christian,
yeah,
the Christians are gone. Now let me be me. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
yeah,
You're not doing it. You're
yeah.
doing now. What you're doing is you're doing it for many. But
Right,
imagine if you're doing your
right,
walk
right,
for
right.
one. So even behind
Yeah,
closed doors,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
living your walk. You're living your truth onto God's. You just so happen to do it before the countenance of others. They just so
Yeah,
happen to be seeing you do what you're doing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
your walk, your relationship with God, your relationship with people, your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your children, whatever you do it
Come
for
on.
one, but you just so happen to be doing it before many. And that's the mindset that I'm trying to live by. I try and run with. Um, and and yeah, this definitely shapes the decisions and actions and conversations I have.
Yeah, no, oh man. Do it for one, but before many. Man, then we heard it. Listen, Triple O, it's been amazing. It's been beautiful, man. We listen.
It's
Thank you
all
so much
love.
for coming on
It's all
and
love. No, we
sharing it
thank
and
God.
supporting us. Honestly, man, it's been beautiful. God speaking through you and you
No,
just sharing your
thank you
experience.
for having me. And again, I just want to let me just round up by saying, like, God bless this
Yeah,
ministry. Seriously, like, we need. I don't think people understand the beauty and the importance of what God is using this ministry to do,
mm,
bringing men
mm,
together like this,
yeah,
encouraging the body of Christ, because there are people who are dying. There are
yeah.
there are
Come on,
there are men who are dying because they
yeah,
want to be accepted. There are men
yeah.
who are dying because they want to be loved. There are men
My
who are
God,
dying because they have no sense of family. But
wow.
when you have an organization, when you have a ministry, when you have a union, a union like
Yes, sir.
412 men
Yes, sir.
engaging with culture, engaging
Yeah,
with the community, engaging with men of God, but then engaging with society to bring the love of Christ to you know, a generation that is in need of answers, we cannot take this for granted. So I just want to implore anybody watching this, please plug into the ministry however you can, support
Oh
them,
man,
pray for them. And I'm not even talking about financially. I'm
that's
talking
good.
about
Come
prayers.
on,
Like I'm
pray for
talking
us.
about
Yeah,
like
man.
a like and a share. Like fam, likes are free, shares are
Come
free,
on, man.
comments are free. It's not
It's
that deep.
free.
But if I talk now, they'll say that I'm mad. So let me not talk.
Yeah.
So let me not talk. But yeah, no, it's been an incredible journey, and I thank God. And if anybody wants to go listen to Cry Like a Man, I mean, you
Please
can. It's on
do.
Spotify. I mean, you
Please
could,
do.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Just even on that. Where
mm,
can we find you? Like, yeah, let us
mm.
know. Like, where can we find you? Just quickly. Where can we
Yeah,
find
yeah. You just hit me up
you? Right.
on Triple O Music on all platforms. The website
Yep.
is tripleomusic.com. Um, yeah, you can go listen to the EP on all streaming sites, streaming platforms. You can hear my heart and hear what really God was kind of saying.
Stream it.
It's to stream that, like support that. We've got the Keep Breathing merchandise. I'm gonna have to plug that a little bit as
Come
well.
on. Yeah,
So
keep
that's
breathing. That looks
Keep
dope.
Breathing. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's on the website. So yeah,
that looks
just
dope.
my brother. So yeah, we here, we here.
We here? Come on, man. Absolutely beautiful. God bless you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you. And Mandem as
It's love,
well, man. Always, man. Thank you, Triple O.
it's
And
love,
just even
family.
finally as well, Mandem, just as a reminder, please, please, please remember bank holiday Monday. Listen, end of this month. Listen, Greenwich Park, man, and register. You can see the event, right? Please, people, register. There's going to be football, going to be games, going to be fellowship, American football. I'm hearing as well. Please come and join us, man. Register so we get an insight and numbers, and let's chop it up, please. Let's have that fellowship. Listen, man, them love you and appreciate you, man. It's been awesome. It's been awesome. Again, look, the husband circle on Zoom. Like I said, this ministry blessed me deeply. 9th of September, those that are about to get married, so don't get married this year. Those who are already married, please, man, them check in. Register the husband circle Eventbrite. Make sure you do that. Man, them, it's been an absolute pleasure. I have to love you and leave you now, man. But please, look, we'll check in next week. Listen, today was a blessing again. I love the realness, but yeah, man, we'll touch base next Monday. Mad love, man. Take care, people. Yes.